glad you decided to come in at all, though. That's the important thing. I'll be honest, I didn't think we'd be meeting again. You can sit wherever. You tend to take some fairly long breaks, and every time I say to myself, well, that might be it. I don't think I'll be seeing her again. And every time, I'm happy to be wrong. So let's get into it. Welcome back and all that. I don't want to waste your time. How? I'm talking to no one. There's no one here. Marilyn?
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost sure I said follow me.
Sorry. I got caught up. There's a very lovely picture of a fractal in your hallway.
The seashell thing?
Mm-hmm. Where'd you get it?
Honestly, no idea.
Why the new building?
Oh, well, it's hardly new anymore. My husband started working downtown, so we moved. Think this one's roomier?
I didn't congratulate you on the wedding.
And that's because, as I was saying to nobody in particular a moment ago, you tend to disappear for large chunks of time. Why don't you sing? I have some idea of what's bringing you back. I've heard some of what's happened from friends of friends, but I'd rather hear it all from you, start to finish. So, lay it on me.
I was thinking we could just sit here.
Sorry?
I don't see us making any breakthroughs in the next hour, and it's no fault of yours, really. But I'm only here because Robert gets worried, and I'd like to put him at ease. It makes him feel better to know that I've seen you. But we can just sit here.
You don't want to talk?
It's nothing against you, the work we did.
As I recalled, it helped.
Absolutely, it did.
You don't think that could happen again?
There isn't anything that needs helping now, particularly.
You mentioned putting your husband at ease?
Don't do that.
What?
You come in the back way. What you wanted to say was, well, you must have a problem if your husband is worried about you. But what you said was, you mentioned your husband. That's a real gift you've got.
I forgot this part of the ride.
What part?
The part where you psychoanalyze me right back.
I think we can go ahead and just sit here.
You know I'm still charging you, whether or not we speak to each other?
Yes.
All right. Sorry, I want to. It feels worth asking why you bothered to come at all.
Do you say that to all of your clients?
Do try to answer the question.
The question being, why did I bother to come?
You could tell your husband you were here and go out to lunch.
You know how I feel about lying.
Oh, you have that thing you say. Truth is a cholesterol something.
A categorical imperative.
Right.
I'm not going to start lying today because Robert's worried about me. If I tell him I'm going to come see you, I come see you.
And you don't plan on mentioning the part where we sat in silence the entire time?
No, I don't think so.
The distinctions between lying and telling a technical truth.
You got it.
And if he asks you what you talked about?
I'll ask him to respect the privacy of the session.
That's interesting. Can I ask why you're not willing to be honest with me?
We are dangerously close to therapy now.
All right. Why buy the cow comes to mind.
What?
Well, now I was thinking, why buy the cow when you could get the milk for free? But
But you're charging me. I've already bought the cow.
Right. I guess it's, why not drink the milk when you already bought the... Look, I don't need to point out how ridiculous this is. Suppose in some very minimal way it is better than not being in therapy at all. So if you want to pay me every week to sit here and not listen to your problems...
In just a moment, the all-new Let's Make a Deal, starring TV's Big Dealer, right after this.
I'm sorry?
Water. You want any?
No, thank you.
You with me? You look spacey.
Sorry. I've been off today.
Are you sure there isn't anything we can talk about?
No.
Really?
Victoria.
All right. You know, I saw a magazine.
Honestly, you don't have to do the small talk. I'm fine.
You can't honestly expect to walk into my office, sit down, and tell me to be quiet for an hour?
I suppose not.
That seems like a categorical if I ever heard one.
What were you going to say?
That I saw a profile of you in the magazine the other day.
Oh?
The smartest couple in New York.
Oh.
I have to admit, it was a little bit of a thrill. I'm not used to having famous clients, and of course I couldn't tell anyone, but I walked around with my head a little higher, knowing that I see one half of the smartest couple in New York.
I'm not, though. We're not. I wish they'd pick a different title.
Oh, I think it's credit where credit's due. Your IQ is 220?
Something like that.
And the Guinness World Record? Maybe Robert isn't holding up his half of the bargain, but you...
Robert's doing just fine. But the fact that I'm smart and he's smart certainly doesn't make us the smartest couple in New York.
You're not just smart. You're both
That's not the issue. Robert and I work for the same company. Our areas of expertise, artificial hearts, healthcare, they overlap. Our brains are full, sure, but full of mostly the same things. If you're going to be strategic about this, you marry someone who doesn't share any of your interests. Somewhere in this town, there's an engineer married to a literature professor, and they are the smartest couple in New York.
If you say so.
Or a therapist married to a dancer.
Don't make this about me.
I know I tend to fall off the map, but I should have sent a card or something.
Not to worry.
No, when your therapist gets married, you send a card. It's just polite. And when the man is 10 years younger, you really send a card.
I'm not in the running for smartest couple in the city.
Well, then most unlikely couple.
I'll give you that.
I'll tell you, I think I've got a pretty good handle on how the world works. But you and a Broadway dancer on the engagements page really threw me.
You know, I may not be the smartest anything in New York, but I can tell when someone's trying to change the subject.
I'm not allowed to live vicariously in your fairy tale romance?
I have a feeling there's plenty you could be telling me about you.
But where's the fun in that?
Marilyn, what's the problem?
It's time for the all-new Let's Make a Deal. And here he is, folks, the man you've all been waiting for.
Hello and welcome to the all-new Let's Make a Deal. Ooh, this crowd is ready to take some gambles. Oh, we've got a live one this afternoon. Can't wait to play. See you in a bit.
Hi, hello? Marilyn, what's happening?
I am so sorry. I have to go now.
What? Hold on. What about sitting here in silence?
I'm sorry, I've been having an off day. More than an off day. Where are my keys? I'm sorry.
Marilyn.
It's the doors, Victoria. The new office is lovely, but that is not natural the way they're set up all in a row like that.
Right, I think I'm missing something.
Architecturally, it makes truly no sense. 3 doors is just a little too on the nose for me these days.
Marilyn,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that something as asinine of the layout of the room can do this to me, but things have changed since I saw you last. And I can't.
Marilyn! One door. One door. What are you talking about?
I think we'd better have a conversation.
I think so too. You're going to have to be very patient with me because I never understood the game in the first place. I certainly didn't understand why everyone got so upset.
Well, it isn't a game. It's a logic puzzle. And everyone got so upset because it's so easy to solve. It's called the Monty Hall problem.
It's time for the all-new Let's Make a Deal!
Imagine you're a contestant on a game show.
Starring TV's big dealer, Monty Hall!
Hey, hey, hey there, big dealers! Welcome to the all-new Let's Make a Deal. The rumors are true. I am your host, Monty Hall, and look at the size of the crowd today!
Victoria, Monty. Monty, Victoria.
Hiya.
Charmed.
So, behind one of these doors, there's a car.
A shiny new Mercury Cyclone, now with ashtrays.
Behind the other two doors, there are goats.
Boo! Hiss! Bah!
Goats?
Yes.
Is there a reason they're goats?
No.
So, what do you think, sweetheart? Is there a brand new car behind door number 1? Or door number 2? Or door number 3?
Oh, I choose?
You choose.
Okay. Door number 1.
Door numero uno.
Now he's going to make things a little more interesting.
Just to spice up your day, sweetheart.
Before he locks you into choosing door number 1, he's going to narrow down your choices by eliminating one of the other doors.
How about I show you where one of those pesky goats is hiding?
Are these real goats we're talking about?
Australian browns.
Really? Truly not the point.
All right. Show me a goat.
Glad to. Why don't we go ahead and open up door number 3? Now that is a door to avoid, little lady. Whoa! They get violent.
Here's the important part. He's going to offer you one last chance to change your mind.
Right. You've chosen door number 1, but I'm not going to hold you to that. Are you feeling lucky where you are? Or would you like to jump ship and hitch your wagon to door number 2?
Jump ship and hitch my wagon?
Ignoring the mixed metaphor, you can stick with door 1 or switch to door 2.
It's a nail-biter, folks. And we'll find out what my new friend chooses right after a word from our friends at Viceroy's. Viceroy's, the cigarette your dentist smokes.
So,
So,
what do you think?
I think Monty Hall's taking a lot of drugs, probably.
Which
but-
door do you think?
As in, stick with door 1 or switch to door 2?
Yes.
Now that he's told me door 3 has a goat behind it,
Yes.
I feel like we've strayed a little bit from the point.
This is the point.
I'm here to treat you, not here to solve word puzzles.
This isn't a word puzzle.
And now that you've made that excellent point, I'd feel more comfortable if I guided the session. The same way
The
that we...
same way we did for a few years?
Well,
The same way that ended with me taking some time away, and trying again, and leaving again? I've got the pattern memorized. I do it in my sleep. Which behaviors do you associate with your insomnia/anxiety/weight gain? What are the moments that make you feel free of your depression/nightmares/compulsive tendencies? Let's make a short-term and long-term plan for addressing your lack of focus/marital issues/defense mechanisms. I could cut out the middleman and buy the textbook.
I want to ask you, and I hope you won't take this the wrong way. Do you like saying things like that?
It doesn't matter if I like it. Listen, I know it's unkind of me, but it's true that you have a script, and I will tell the truth.
Suppose I'm asking, does it make you feel smart, lecturing me about my own field?
You sound like Letterman now.
Letterman, David?
I did an interview with him.
Oh, I saw that. Can't believe I forgot. They showed reruns and I taped it. You know, this was right after you stopped seeing me. I watched the interview over and over, and of course I couldn't tell anyone that I knew you, so they just thought that I loved David Letterman.
Well then, you know how banal it was. If I went out to dinner with you, would you seem smart to me? Do you think you're smarter now than you were when you were 10? And of course, the question to end all questions. Do you feel smart? He didn't talk to me during the breaks. We sat there in a very, very painful silence.
But Marilyn, you must... I mean, I'm sorry about that. That sounds awful. But I can't believe we haven't talked about this. You know what the strangest part was?
Yes.
The eerie coincidence?
Yes.
When he asked you why the smartest woman in the world wasn't doing something more important with her life?
I heard the interview, Victoria. It was an interview with me.
He said, shouldn't you be working on the Jarvik 7?
Right.
Shouldn't you be working on the Jarvik 7?
Are you summoning spirits?
Marilyn!
That's me.
Now you are working on the Jarvik 7.
Yep.
You met Robert, what, a year after that interview?
Less than.
David Letterman says, why don't you go work on the artificial heart? And less than a year later, Mr. Jarvik himself sweeps you off your feet, and however many months after that, boom! CFO of Jarvik Heart.
I can look you in the eye and promise you I didn't do it because David Letterman told me to.
I'm saying it's a massive coincidence. The kind that really makes you think.
It really makes you think.
I'm sorry, it doesn't give you the slightest pause that Dave Letterman can predict the future? Can Leno fly?
I'd like to believe in the whimsy of it all as much as you do, but numbers are cold, hard things.
Oh, don't ruin this with math. It's amazing that someone would say something like that.
It isn't, though. I took my first IQ test when I was 10. For the past 35 years, people have been making snide little quips about how I'm obliged to use my brain for something important. She'll cure cancer. She'll send us to Mars. She'll bring peace to the Middle East. Putting aside how apparently no one can conjure up an original joke, it's no coincidence that one person in all this time has mentioned the technology Robert was working on. Jarvik 7 was the biggest scientific news of '86. Someone was bound to use it as an example of how I could be putting my mind to use. There's nothing strange about that.
Yep. You ruined it with math.
Fear of mathematics is a microcosmic fear of reality, you know? Clinging to coincidence is some people's way of avoiding fact.
I promise you. PhD on my wall promises you that therapy is not supposed to be a two-way street like this.
You never answered the question, you know.
That, your used car salesman and the goats?
Yes.
All right. I chose door 1. He said the third door is out. The other two, I know one has a car and the other has a goat, and assuming that I don't want to take livestock home with me, I've got a 50-50 shot. Doesn't matter whether I stick with door 1 or switch to door 2. I'm not a mathematician.
It wouldn't help if you were.
But it's an even chance. 50-50. Again, though, I'd rather leave the doors behind and talk about you.
We are talking about me.
We're talking about the abstract.
If you could trust me here.
Fine. So, someone submits his question to your column and you publish the answer.
Yes.
I heard all of this third hand, so stop me when I start saying nonsense, but there were some folks with too much time on their hands who didn't think it really was a 50-50 shot, and they took issue with your saying that it was 50-50, and they wrote you some letters.
Almost.
What's the almost?
pretty much everyone who read the column agreed that you have a 50-50 chance.
So everyone agrees. Then what's the problem?
Alrighty, here we are again. I've just hated being away from you all. And there is a distinct odor back there, so suffice it to say, I'm glad to be back. I've just hated keeping you in suspense. So let's turn things back over to our lovely little lady in the first row here. Hi there.
You know, he's starting to get on my nerves.
Okay, sweetheart, you've chosen door number 1.
Yeah, we don't have to go over it again. Doesn't matter whether I stay or switch because I've got 2 doors left and a 50-50 chance with either one.
Look at you, my friend, rejecting the premise of the question. Charlie, what do we do when we're thrown into such an existential crisis?
Monty, what say we take some messages from the folks at home?
Here we go.
The folks at home? Those are my most favorite folks. This one's addressed to Miss Marilyn Voss Savant, New York, New York. Dr. E. Ray Bobo of Georgetown University writes, You are utterly incorrect about the game show question. And if you can admit your error, you will have contributed constructively towards the solution of a deplorable situation.
What?
You blew it, and you blew it big, writes Dr. Scott Smith, University of Florida. There is enough mathematical illiteracy in this country, and we don't need the world's highest IQ propagating more. Shame.
Marilyn, what on earth?
Let him finish.
May I suggest you obtain and refer to a standard textbook on probability before you try to answer a question of this type again. How many irate mathematicians are needed to change your mind? Maybe women look at math problem differently than men.
Whoa, tip of the iceberg.
You are the goat here! That one's clever.
Stop this! Go away! How do I make him go away?
I was hoping you'd know.
Take a commercial break. Go! Shoo!
A few more biting comments from angry mathematicians all across the US of A. Right after a word from viceroys. Viceroys! When your lines are getting bored!
People wrote those vile things to you?
I thought you knew that.
I told you, I didn't keep track of this. A controversy in the world of math? I thought you were all publishing papers back and forth and pushing your glasses up and hashing this out on chalkboards somewhere. I didn't think you were getting hate mail.
Well, that's the thing about academics. They have the time for this.
I don't see why you didn't come back sooner.
I didn't need to.
That's crap. I didn't need. I'm no expert. Oh, but hang on. I'm an expert. And if you needed therapy before hate mail, it sure as hell doesn't hurt after hate mail.
I might need therapy after all the yelling my therapist is doing.
Don't joke with me. You have a responsibility to your own mental health. You have a duty to take care of yourself.
It's funny how that duty involves shelling out $200 a week to you. Sorry. That was out of line.
Do you think for a moment I'm in this for the money? Let me break the news to you, Marilyn. I could be spending this hour with any of my dozens of more reliable clients, instead of one who pops in and out of therapy once a decade to keep her husband from bothering her. I took your call because I feel some obligation to see you through to a place of well-being.
I'm sorry.
And you lied to me.
I'm sorry?
All that truth is a categorical
I
arboretum.
didn't lie to you.
You told me no one believed it was anything other than a 50-50 shot, but you've got Georgetown professors calling you an idiot. I wouldn't call that no one.
You're a few steps behind here.
Enlighten me.
It's going to involve some math.
Oh, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm sure my high school calculus teacher would be thrilled to know, all the way from hell, that I did in fact need math in whatever career I chose.
If you'd rather change the subject.
Oh, I think we're in just far enough to finish this.
Right.
So, let's try this one more time. Very slowly. All the angry professors know it's 50-50. Door 1 or door 2. All your readers know that. Everyone agrees, but when you say it's 50-50, they go berserk. Why?
Because I didn't say it was 50-50.
Why not?
Because it isn't.
Marilyn, either you're wrong or I'm about to get very frustrated.
You're about to get very frustrated.
There are 2 doors left. One door has the car and one door has the goat.
Yes.
There are 2 doors left. I don't understand.
Neither did the Georgetown math department.
I'd send you hate mail too.
That's good to hear.
This doesn't... Explain it to me then. Please.
Okay. I mean, this may go without saying.
What?
If I start talking about it, there's a good chance that
What? Oh, he'll slither back in.
he usually does.
If he calls me little lady again, we're gonna have a problem.
Wow, look who it is.
Montgomery, always a pleasure.
Glad to see you too, little lady. You rang?
She needs an explanation. Why don't we try Let's Make a Deal Deluxe?
I like the way you're thinking. Charlie, it's Let's Make a Deal Deluxe!
Monty, did I hear those magic words?
That's right, Charlie. Say it with me now. It's Let's Make a Deal Deluxe!
Jesus God Almighty! It's Let's Make a Deal Deluxe. We're up to speed.
Fiery. I like that. Charlie, why don't you walk us through the rules?
As overwhelming as 3 doors might have been for our contestants, we at Let's Make a Deal weren't satisfied. We're Americans by heck, and what do Americans do?
Just a guy back there?
Americans expand. We add doors. Welcome to Let's Make a Deal Deluxe, where you've got your choice of 100 doors, which will be represented on this stage by 3 doors.
So you got the gist. 100 doors. Behind them 1 car and 99 goats.
And an increasingly worrisome amount of goat excrement.
Same as last time, you get your pick of any door.
And I go with door number 1.
Then, just like I always do, I make your life a little easier. But this time, in typical deluxe fashion, I don't just reveal 1 door for you. I show you the goat behind every single door, except the door you've chosen, and door number 53.
What? He leaves 1 other option besides the door that you've chosen, same as he did the first time around. But with 100 doors, you'd switch pretty quickly to that random 53rd door he's left closed for you. Yes? Because he knows something you don't.
I know lots of things.
Well, but they're mathematically identical.
Hear that, Charlie?
Loud and clear, Monty. They're mathematically identical.
All right, time to leave.
Oh, I wouldn't strain yourself. She tends to stay 1 step ahead.
Get out.
These commercial breaks sure do come fast and furious, don't they, Charlie? Viceroys. No one's proved anything yet.
Feeling caught up?
Completely counterintuitive.
They've run simulations, you know. I published the results of God knows how many studies in one of my God knows how many columns devoted to explaining my explanation.
I carried out the problem in real life
Yes.
with real goats.
Victoria,
I'm being lighthearted.
don't.
All right. So it's not 50-50. I was getting caught up in it too, but I think it's important to zoom out a little. This thing is a thought experiment.
This particular thought experiment stopped being a thought experiment a couple of years ago now. It's exhausting getting 10,000 letters telling you you're an idiot, especially when they're all wrong. So it's a little bit important to me that you at least understand the solution.
That it's always better to switch doors.
Twice as good. You have double the odds every time you switch cores. Do you see that?
Yes,
Good.
But I don't think this is our issue. The question I'm interested in answering before we get too caught up in goats is why you didn't come back when the hate mail rolled in.
The hate mail needed response. I had a full-time job explaining myself to every irate professor in America, And to my readers.
And you couldn't fit in an appointment?
The hate mail needed response. I don't know what else to say.
Marilyn, I see a lot of clients who can be very aware of their destructive behavior, who know that their eating habits are unhealthy, they know that they're treating their spouse badly, and they avoid my office as a way of feigning ignorance of the problem.
And these clients, they have names like Carolyn and Schmarilyn.
Please don't miss my point.
It's hard not to feel patronized by the coded language.
I'm not coding anything, and I'm not trying to patronize you. But for all your IQ points, you've got to defer to my experience a little here. This is your magazine cover. We'd have a great shot at smartest couple in New York, since I've got a psychotherapy degree and you've got everything else. Our talents do not overlap.
All right.
So, if I make it dangerously close to therapy for a moment, you're not an educator. You're not a parent. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't sense a love of teaching buried underneath all that scorn.
All true.
But here, with this, I see a real eagerness to explain the correct answer. I don't think we can chalk it up to Marilyn's trying to increase mathematical literacy in America.
How about Marilyn's trying to increase mathematical literacy among mathematicians?
How about Marilyn thinks it's important to be right?
I was right. I am right.
And it was important that the world knew that.
Of course it was important. If it were important to be right, why would anyone bother doing anything? Why would you bother trying to convince me to stay in therapy if you didn't think it was important that you were right?
The difference is, my thing has real-world implications for your mental health and your thing. Well, God, Marilyn, your thing is about fictional goats and fictional game show hosts. Jesus!
I am not fictional, honey.
That's real.
You gave me a heart attack.
I am real!
This can't be normal.
That word just doesn't mean anything anymore.
I just want the folks at home to know that I am not a fictional game show host. Your main man, Monty, is real!
Happy to hear it, Pinocchio. Go back from whence you came.
Actually, little lady, I think I'll stay a spell.
Excuse me?
New office?
Yeah, actually. No, get out. We are busy.
Can't resist the chance to spend a few more minutes with you two lovely ladies.
I'm not joking.
Oh boy.
You're going and you're going now. This is a private session.
You think it's fun back there, little lady? Trying to run a small farm so this nut job can cope with her math nightmare?
Nut job! This nut job was on Letterman.
Okay, you know what? Why don't I go?
No, where are you? We were making progress here.
Nope. You shouting at my hallucination cannot be progress.
Don't worry. He's leaving.
Leaving? The crowd and I were just getting to know each other.
Gag me.
Besides, we haven't gotten to the interesting part of the evening. I've got to stick around at least until the star of the show decides to tell the whole story.
I'm sorry.
Well, I appreciate a cliffhanger as much as the next fella, but this little minx hasn't given you the full Monty, if you will.
What is he talking about?
Which one's the exit?
Marilyn, give me 5 minutes.
I'm sorry. For a second there, I thought this was going to help. But we should have taken it one because, well, I don't feel any better than when I walked in. So I'm going to walk out. Victoria,
Yes?
where's the exit?
You're looking at it.
What am I missing?
I always like to throw in one last twist for the contestants with the most to win and the most to lose.
Oh my god.
What did you... Whatever the hell you're doing to her, you better cut it out now!
Whoa, Vicky! I'm a host! I don't take sides. I would never fool around with the odds of winning. I'm here only to make deals.
Fine, then let's... Oh, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Let's make a deal.
Let's! The doors can get a little tricky, I know. But our friend of the exceptional height IQ over here will be free to go. As soon as she's honest with the both of us.
Honest?
Honest? Withholding the facts is the same as lying, wouldn't you say? And you know what Charlie always says about lying.
Truth is a categorical imperative.
You still think this is a story about some gal trying to prove to the world that she's right and they're wrong? That movie has already been made.
You really don't let up, do you?
If you aren't going to tell your therapist, who are you going to tell?
What is he talking
Come
about?
on now. It's just you and her. And a figment of your imagination. And Charlie, and some livestock, and a brand new Mercury Cyclone that is at this point unfortunately covered in goat feces.
What do you want?
Honesty. That's what you want. So tell her the truth. The door will be open to you. Deal?
You promise?
Game show host oath.
That's not a thing.
I don't think I have a choice. Fine. There's a wrinkle. That's what he's talking about.
A wrinkle?
After all the dust settled, all the professors made public apologies, we got a letter from a concerned reader who made a very enlightening point.
Care to do the honors?
This is all you.
All right. Here's the problem.
She's just getting ready back there.
Yeah.
They have to give her a mic. You ever tried cocaine?
It's time for the all-new Let's Make a Deal. Filling in for TV's big dealer, Monty Hall, let's hear it for Marilyn Savant.
It's really unpleasant back there.
We think the goats are starting to eat each other.
Let's pose the original question. 2 goats, 1 car, and you pick?
Door number 1.
Great. Now I do the chivalrous thing and let you sneak a peek at door number 3, which it turns out has a goat behind it.
And
Stay or switch.
that's the same problem.
Not quite.
Help me out.
I'm not an omniscient game show host. I'm just a fill-in game show host, so I have no idea what's behind any of these doors. You chose a random door, and then I opened another random door for you. And by luck, I showed you a goat. It could have been the car.
And the fact that it's an accident, that changes something?
It changes everything if the host doesn't know what's behind the doors.
So,
Thank God for concerned readers.
The letter we got pointed out that if the host has no idea what's behind the doors, then he's not choosing the door he opens for any particular reason. He's not avoiding the door that has the car. Bottom line, a fill-in game show host doesn't add any information. He just whittles your options down to 2 at random.
and your chance becomes a 50-50 shot.
Yes,
Which
which
means...
means I'd be wrong.
Bum, bum, bum!
For God's sake.
Threatened by a wrinkle. Has to be hard. Well, I wouldn't know. No experience with wrinkles.
Could you please do us a favor and go back to your own species?
Someone's having some emotions.
It's probably about time for your pills, no? Someone waiting for you back at home?
I could ask you the same question.
Get out.
Thought so. But we're not done yet. Don't you want to know which way the puzzle was worded when she got it way back when? Don't you want to know if the host knew what he was doing?
Marilyn?
If she were in any state, she would tell you that it read, the host opens one...
I don't have time for you. Honey, you're as white as a sheet.
Listen to him.
Just trying to help.
Fine. How did the question read?
The host opens one of the doors to reveal a goat.
The host opens one of the doors to reveal a goat. To reveal a goat, that's ambiguous.
Very.
That could mean the host opens one of the doors in order to reveal a goat. Or it could mean the host opens one of the doors and a goat is revealed.
Indeed.
I was an English major.
Zoology.
So, why are we treating this like the end of the world?
Good question.
Victoria.
You're blowing this out of proportion. So there was some ambiguity in the question. Big deal. In a real game show, the host knows what's behind the doors. It's implied.
Listen.
It's your turn to listen. It's even people who read the question the same way you did still didn't get the right answer. No one else is on your level. No one. And whatever some anonymous hack says about substitute game show hosts, an incompetent reading of the
This is fun. A girl power. She answers goodness knows how many questions every year and gets a whole boatload of them right. When's the last time the column was wrong?
And it isn't even wrong. At worst, you fail to provide all the correct answers. You've built up a lifetime of right answers, and none of that gets torn down by a mistake. So there's a technicality, big deal. None of that can undo what you—
Stop it!
I'm just trying to say I understand.
You don't even begin to understand. Not the tip of the iceberg. You don't have even the slightest idea how wrapped up I am in this thing.
You don't give me any credit. I've sat through about 5 simulations of the same logic puzzle. I think I've got a fair idea of what's going on. You hate the idea that you might have been wrong. No one enjoys being wrong. It's a natural reaction.
Oh, good. I think we cracked it.
What? What is that? I'm missing something obvious again? It really does make you feel smart, doesn't it? To stand alone on that higher plane of whatever and know something that I don't?
Oh, you can fairly see me jumping for joy over here, can't you? Nothing gives me a high faster than listening to you misdiagnose me. Here I am, gloating over the fact that my therapist doesn't even have an earthly clue.
If you don't want a misdiagnosis, you're going to have to actually descend from the clouds and tell me what's going on. Why did Mr. Clean ooze back in here and tell me there was more to this, if not to force you to stand on 2 feet and actually say, Marilyn Savant is a human being who doesn't enjoy being wrong? Are you telling me it doesn't bother you? The fact that you've been celebrated for getting this big, hard question right, and in fact there's a small technicality you missed?
I'm telling you it bothers me that I am the only person in the world who could find it.
You aren't, though! You heard what he said, a letter from some anonymous mathematics genius. Oh no.
And ain't the truth a beautiful thing? Categorical and imperative. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to miss each and every one of you. And I hope you'll miss me just the same. These two certainly take care of the feminine perspective. So I'm glad I could balance it.
I hope he's getting paid for this.
You have to be kidding me.
I'm not known for kidding.
You sent yourself a letter?
Well, I didn't actually go buy a stamp and everything, but yes.
Why?
Stamps are expensive.
No, why try to tarnish your own reputation? It was a silly technicality, one that barely bears repeating. You very well could have put the problem to bed and collected your trophies and turned out the lights.
Oh, I wish to God I could turn out the lights. I've about had it with puzzles and games. Here's what you don't see. Monty was easy. Monty took 5 minutes, and then the math professors of America made some ridiculous little attempts to prove me wrong. But in the end, it just made me look even more right. It was all so futile, meaningless. I knew I was right from the beginning. I just sat around waiting for everyone else to figure it out.
Then why?
Since I was 10, I've been scoring higher and higher on tests, and getting more and more renown, and landing on more talk shows and magazine covers. And guess what? It hits a ceiling. Once you've answered the hardest question in the world, and you've proved everyone wrong, where do you go? I suppose you go back to answering more questions. And you're right. And you're right again. And you just keep being right with no effect because that's what everyone expects from you. And what they've always expected. She's just so bright. She'll get it right on Monday, and she'll get it right on Tuesday because that's what she does. That's what she is. And after a while, you wonder what would happen if you were wildly wrong in front of the world. Because otherwise, all you'll ever be is that woman who was always right, who conquered Monty Hall and conquered the doubters and knew everything. And then she died. I needed to mess up, just to know what that is. Everyone else knows what that's like. And when there's no one who can play chess with you, you play chess with yourself. You stand all alone on your higher plane of whatever, and you feel smart. And just to pass the time, you make a really desperate effort to prove yourself wrong. Hey, what if the game show host wasn't omniscient? What if he didn't know everything? What if I didn't know everything? Wouldn't that be nice? And you counter your counter-argument, and you keep batting it back and forth. But you said it. I've built up a lifetime of right answers, and I couldn't tear that down if I tried.
You don't know everything, though.
No, of course not. But I can figure anything out. I hate hyperbole. You know I hate bragging. So when I tell you that I can figure anything out, you have to know that I mean it. And that it's not a good thing. Truly, I can't tell you the last time something surprised me. But I am alone in that. I sit 50 floors up in this cramped little parade office, answering riddles all day.
No.
You think I'm making this up? I'm telling you, I'm alone. You think I'm delusional?
Of course not. I just think the world holds more surprises, more miracles, more coincidences than you can see coming.
Well, you're wrong. And what else is new? You try and romanticize Letterman. You try and humanize the Monty Hall problem. Well, you can't, because it's numbers. Life is math, and math is a singularly unsurprising thing to me. So if A equals B and B equals C...
This is just ridiculous. Truly. That you have no imagination left, that you can't, you won't believe in unbelievable things. I know you aren't doing this to brag. I know that's not you. But to stand here and talk about yourself as some kind of Cassandra, you're cursed with too much knowledge
And what?
And it's too fundamental to even tell you. There's hope. There's always hope, because there has to be. Don't switch doors if you don't want to. Go seek out surprise. You're telling me you don't ever come across anything strange and beautiful and unlikely?
Well, there was your wedding announcement. That threw me for a loop. I stared at that. You and he were an anomaly that I couldn't explain. The age difference, the careers, and the picture of you two. It all looked like a fairy tale, like something out of a world where anything can happen. No mundane statistics to explain that away. It was so wonderfully unlikely. But things that are unlikely, well, they tend to be unlikely, don't they?
Don't.
I came in here looking for a wedding photo on the walls, but all you've got is a seashell.
Don't.
You were my holdout, Victoria.
Please stop!
If I never came back to therapy, I would never have to find out whether your marriage lasted. I could keep pretending that strange, surprising things still happened, if not in my life, at least adjacent.
How dare you!
The math won out, didn't it? And you can go on about coincidences that really make you think as long as you like. But you don't have a nice story to tell your grandkids. You don't even have grandkids. Get out of my office! You always have to switch doors, you know? That's just the right answer.